Hello there everybody and welcome to the stream. I'm just checking my mic's working. Yes it is. Hello there. Thank you for joining us tonight on this lovely Wednesday night. I have my friend and co-host, I always say friend, don't I? Right there. That way. That's the way. Good friend Mark there, Centroid. His channel's linked below the stream, you know, in the description, all that. Look, how are you, Mark? You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing well with all things considered. A little stir crazy, but getting there.
Yes, the lockdown treating you all right?
Yeah, can't complain too much.
No,
Not that anybody would listen anyway. My wife sure as hell won't.
Nobody cares. Oh, dearie me. So, do you have any drone news stories, Mark?
It took a bit of scouring, but I came up with two decent ones. Not quite filler. I think they're good stories. We can waffle on a bit about them, but they're interesting, relative, and I think I got some stuff to share with you today.
Oh, good.
How about yourself?
Now,
Do you have any stories?
I have 5 good
Oh,
stories.
geez. Look at that.
One of them from my local area too, which is good. Yes.
Cool.
I thought, you know, with this lockdown going on, that the drone news would get far too thin to even do a drone news show. But there's still drone news coming in.
If you scrape the edges a bit, you can find some here and there. It isn't as easy, but it's there.
Do you know, like, when you go like a jam jar?
Exactly.
And you're just trying to scrape that last little bit out the bottom.
There's plenty all around the edges. You just got to find it, and you just got to find a way to reach in and get it. It's there. It's just not as readily.
It's like hook your finger around the inside of the rim.
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. Is we're really now. It's not the bottom. It's not like we got trash to talk about. It's just not plentiful.
Yes.
The cornucopia of news does not exist at the moment.
Yes.
So.
It's more of a caked in gold mine than
a
full-on gold mine.
Exactly.
It's just them little caked in bits under the lip. Yeah. Oh, dearie me. I don't know. So how is everybody in the chat? If there is anybody in the chat.
Right now we're a little low, but that's okay. I'm sure people will pop in. We have 5 watching right now, so if there's somebody lurking in the crevices, feel free to keep lurking or just say hi in the chat.
Reveal yourselves in the chat.
I think we're being trolled finally, Steve.
Yes, I think we're being trolled. You're trolling me in the chat, Mark.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of the dead, I was about to say, I bet
Thank you for saving us. We don't look like losers doing a stream with nobody watching anymore. Well, we do, but yes.
You bailed us out there, Gary.
Yeah, you did. Came in clutch right there.
I didn't mention it to you, but Gary left a nice comment. He did miss our stream on Saturday and took it and did watch it back. So he gave us a view from the show he missed. So all good, man. Oh, Mia's Drone Adventures is in.
Hello there. Welcome to the stream.
And she needs a wrench.
Yeah. Oh, dude. It was done before you even said it.
I know, but I'm just checking.
Yes. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes,
we are going to talk about drone news at some point, but it is quite thin on the ground. So as you know, during the lockdown and everything, it may get a little bit general chatty. I'm just pre-warning you. This is not the usual rapid fire news delivery, because if we do that, the show will be over in about 20 minutes.
And we'll wait for a few more people to pop in case we want to mention what's going on this Saturday. So we'll just hold off on that for a bit. Or we can say it now and say it then too. I don't care.
Oh, say it now, Matt. Go on, plug it.
Well, might as well. My shameless plug for the Transatlantic Drone Alliance Spotlight Show is this Saturday, 5 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 10 p.m. UK time. For those who are willing to come watch, we do have a nice guest lined up. In fact, I'm excited about it, Steve, because we got this one from one of the recommended channels from a previous guest, which I think is really cool because we're making those kind of connections. Should we reveal it or leave it as a surprise?
Ooh, that should have been discussed pre-stream.
So we'll have to leave it then as a surprise. We'll default to that. How's that?
Yes.
We'll leave the few guests that we have right now hanging on the edges of their seats.
Yes. Literally chomping at the bit. Yes, no, but seriously, I hope you are well in the chat. Anybody who wants to join us, even if you may be watching this back, I hope you are well, not losing your mind, just being locked in. So I know most people are. You know, my recommendation: computer games. They're getting me through this right now.
Oh, I'm sorry, Steve. That's just very selfish of you. You're hogging bandwidth from the people who are working from home. Stop it.
What, Assassin's Creed Odyssey? It's a single player game.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, they'll still blame me.
Yeah, you're still being blamed for
Yes.
hogging the airwaves, the
Yes.
bandwidth for online at-home workers.
EBRFPV, hello there. Hello. Oh, Salvini, hello there. Welcome to the stream, buddy. I hope you're well. Yes. We are about to talk about some drone news in a roundabout sort of way. Yes.
Who's rest for? Who's rest
Salvini
for? Says,
from the
that's
Discord.
Salvini. Oh, Salvini, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, Salvini. FSV, hello there, Finn, my young apprentice. Yes. At some point, mate, we will get out flying again, I promise you. But obviously, I don't have me, what is it, online registration thingy going on. And obviously, lockdown. Can't do much. But once all this is over and I've got that sorted, mate, we'll get out. We'll get you some new videos, mate. Some new content. Can you imagine that? Right. Oh, amazing stuff. Yes. Salvini, you've got a blue wrench, mate. Thank you for stopping by. You know, welcome to stick around. You know, is it open to the public? Anybody can come in. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I do appreciate it when people come from the Discord as well. Yes.
And I hope you're well, Salvini. Yes, I've been distant from Red Dead, waiting for new content, I guess.
Yeah. Well, for anybody who plays computer games, you're into like game emulators, Red Dead Redemption 2 especially, on PC. I have actually started a Discord for gaming. Finn, you may be interested. I don't know. Yeah, just let me know if you want the link for that, and I'll put a link in the chat if you want to join it. I think we're up to like 30 something members now, like regular members. Really good, you know, voice chat and playing games and stuff. Yeah, what's not to love? And they're all good people as well. We do have
very nice people. Yep.
Yes, we do have like an approval process, and I have had to kick non-respectful people. So everybody in there is lovely. You have that, you know, my seal of approval. Everybody in there, yes. There we go. I couldn't have said that much better, could I, Mike?
No, you couldn't have said it better. It was perfect. And EBRFPV is saying the sound's a bit low.
Huh? That's news to me. Is it my audio?
Or my audio? Or
I don't know. Surely the solution would be turn it up.
yeah. Maybe your settings are low, buddy.
You know, first suggestion off the top of my head. All the audio levels this end are fine from what I can see. It's registering normal how I always do it, so it should be okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. 9 minutes in, Mark, and we've not talked any drone news yet.
Nope,
we're doing all right at this banter thing, aren't we? We're doing good.
But we do have. We're not just pushing it off. We do have drone news here. We're getting to it at some point.
I was tempted to name the stream not the weekly drone news roundup, but it kind of is, and I think I've had that title before as well. When I think you cancelled on one of them in advance, and I just called it not the weekly drone news roundup, and just went live for half hour just talking about what I wanted to talk about.
We could call it the weekly drone news scraping.
Oh no! Oh dear, Shrimp Shack, hello there. Thank you for joining us.
Sweet.
Oh, awesome stuff. Right, so let's start then with some drone news, Mark. And I'll start because you've not done well on your stories this week.
Yeah, I've only got a couple.
It just got called out.
Why'd you say I didn't do well? I found some.
You didn't do well. What I mean is
it'd be different if I said, I got nothing.
What I mean is you didn't get many. That's what I meant.
No. I usually get 3 or 4. I got 2.
Yeah.
Could be.
EBRFPV says, like, not the 9 o'clock news. Yes, exactly. There was like an old spoof, like comedy news show in the UK, Mark, called Not the 9 o'clock News.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I thought it'd be a bit too much of a rip-off.
Yeah.
I think I've used the title, not the weekly drone news roundup, though, so I'm a bit of a hypocrite. Right. Yes. Okay, right. So we'll switch over then to a drone news story. Would you believe it, on a drone news show, we're about to come up with with a drone news story. What is this? Okay, let me just get that copied and pasted into the chat there. Coast to Coast Drones, hello there. How's it going, buddy? Thank you for joining us. So this one is from AH Val News. That's the way I'm going to pronounce it anyway, for you all. And that is Turkish killer drone maker turns life giver with ventilator production. Now, usually we don't stray into military drone territory, but tonight we will. Yeah. The producers of Turkey's Bayraktar TB drone have turned their engineering expertise to the mass production of ventilators for hospitals as part of the fight against COVID-19. Forbes said, to support the health and authorities and assist our citizens, we shifted key engineers to develop respiratory equipment. Baykar General Manager Haluk Bayraktar said, Baykar, together with Biosys, Biomedical and I'll call it Archulate, announced their collaboration on ventilator production in March. They coordinated 100 engineers to design respiratory ventilators and delivered the first batch to hospitals on April 20th. Baykar said the production cost for these new ventilators was $6,500. Cheaper ventilator designs are underway across the globe, but the United States is negotiating deals for bulk purchases at around $18,000 a piece. Crikey. The rapid production of the ventilators, which may be exported in the future, has boosted Baykar's growth profile even further, said Forbes. Turkish Bayraktar TB2 is a relative export success for Turkey. Ukraine received a batch of these UAVs last year. Kiev will acquire a total of 12 Bayraktars, Samuel Bender, an advisor for the Centre of Naval Analysis, told Forbes. The drone needs runways to take off and land, but can stay in the air for 24 hours and conduct surveillance. All be fitted with bombs and missiles, hence, military drone technology there, making it useful for counterinsurgency and cross-border warfare. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go too much into that because it is all military drone spiel. And we know what these drones do. They're just remote control killing machines, which is not what we like to do. But it is nice when you hear a story of a company that deals in death and destruction to then turn it to something more positive. Wouldn't you agree, Mark?
Yeah. In fact, we reported on that story a little while ago about the military drone that was more of a glider that did the same thing. They transferred it into delivering, supplies and medicines for people in remote areas suffering from the shutdown and so forth. So, yeah, it's nice to see things being repurposed in a positive way. Absolutely.
There we go. So that's my first drone news story, Mark.
Yeah, cool.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yes.
And again, it just goes to show you that at least they're willing to branch out and use these things in a positive way and not just say, nope, sorry, can't help you.
Yeah.
Put these things to good use. I mean, it's a shame that what they're designed for, primarily, but to retrofit or to expand their usage in times of need is definitely a plus, and I'm glad they're doing it.
Yes. Right, we're ready to switch over.
Yes. Okay, so here is the link. I'm going to copy this and put it in the chat. And as everyone well knows, that the U.S. has a policy for not using any commercial drones from any companies outside the U.S., particularly from China and whatnot, because they fear that they're being spied on, data warehouse, whatever, anything that we're using these drones for could be collecting data and being used for alternative purposes that we don't know about. So this is the latest in that story. A US-based DJI alternative, TerraView's Range Pro. This is apparently a company that's developing a commercial drone, not a hobby drone by any stretch, to be used for commercial purposes by the government, and other businesses here in the United States. And it is a U.S. brand, so to speak. TerraView wants to be the U.S.-based DJI alternative. The Range Pro XP8 is a commercial drone at a competitive price that qualifies to sell to U.S. government organizations. And this story is from Drone Life, by the way, another good source. So please take a look at the link, give them some views here. Drone Life talked to Bruce Myers, TerraView's president, about creating an enterprise drone working with government and competing with the world's largest drone manufacturer. We recently wrote about TerraView in relation to their new product release on the Range Pro XP8. Born in the USA, both the drone and the idea have roots in the U.S. military, of course. Myers and TerraView founder and CEO Paul Ashley are former Navy F-14 pilots. We actually met for the first time as junior officers in the same Navy squadron. I spent 10 years on active duty, blah, blah, blah. This is about how they met. I want to get to the actual drone story and talk more about the drone itself. Let's see here. The specs here. Okay. TerraView has deliberately engineered a product that will be ideal for government customers. With the recent U.S. proposals to limit exposure to Chinese technologies such as Huawei drones, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Huwei, those drones have also come under close scrutiny. Some versions of a proposed bill would limit the use of some U.S. agency funding to purchase drones with any parts, including the gimbal or camera manufactured in a listed country such as China. These proposals have resulted in departments such as the Department of Interior downing its fleet of DJI drones. Now, I did report on this earlier where you had people claiming that they had drones to sell to U.S. companies and government agencies that were not made in China. And the claim is they're assembled here in the U.S., but they wound up being assembled using parts from China, and that kind of wiped them out and kept them off the table. Which, when you watch the video, there's a video on this link. They do not say manufactured in the U.S. They say assembled in the U.S. even for this particular model. So that to me, that's still kind of vague. It's not 100% sure. Are we actually designing the chips, the sensors, everything here in the U.S., or are there any parts in this actual said drone made in the U.S. made outside of the country? I do not know for sure. It's unclear.
Yeah, no, it's a similar thing. A lot of the British motor car industry, all that lot, basically moved overseas, either to Germany or India. Funnily enough, basically they still claim to be British cars, but all the parts are basically made over there, then shipped to the UK just to be bolted assembled together, and then sold. Exactly. And then sold as British cars.
That's why I always question the phrase "assembled in the United States."
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of Nissan products, a lot of foreign cars that are manufactured in the United States from, let's say, Nissan. They're not from the U.S. These are foreign cars, but they're just put together here in the States. Mm-hmm. And so I always I wish they would clarify that a little bit better. Let's see here. Myers describes the Range Pro. The Range Pro is an enterprise drone similar in size to the M200, which I believe is referring to the Matrice 200. Would that sound familiar? But with much more payload capacity and flight time, typically over an hour. Yeah, they're saying in the video, if you watch it, they're saying that they should have about 70 minutes of flight time, which we all know that's usually in optimal flight conditions with no wind and 100% battery health and life and whatnot. So even if you're getting an hour, that's still amazing. And it's a pretty big bird as well. Let's see here. Our focus is on the energy sector, but we have seen very high interest from telecom tower companies, U.S. federal government, U.S. Department of Defense, and first responders, law enforcement, and fire. Okay, so here's what I know about this, and you'll get the same thing if you just watch the video. They are boasting about a 70-minute flight time. The camera, it shoots in 3 different modes, I believe, and I think it's got some sort of flare to it, or basically heat signature, being able to see at nighttime or whatever the case is. But I mean, if you look at that camera on the bottom, it almost looks like the camera right off of an Inspire, to be honest, the basic Inspire camera. It really does look like it. So we don't know for sure about that. It's got apparently it's got 360 degrees avoidance sensors, which is kind of nice. And it also boasts a pretty hefty payload capacity, although it doesn't mention how heavy an object it can carry. And they show different purposes, from inspecting, wind farms, the windmills used in wind farms, to crops, to do power lines and such. And again, it looks like a neat little bird. I shouldn't say little; it's about the size of a matrice. But this is again, my problem with it is that if you watch the video, it says assembled in the U.S. So hopefully, I mean, it'd be nice to see us not rely so heavily on other countries for this kind of technology. But let's face it, we've got a long way to go before we can really produce something as dependable and as high quality as DJI. Sorry, I'm from the U.S. I shouldn't be talking like that. But let's face it, that it is a very good product. DJI has been doing this for a long time, and there's a reason why they're as big as they are, because they make a good product. So
I'm pretty sure that if basically, as long as the circuitry is made in the USA, then I'm sure that it won't be spying on you. Basically, if you got the camera, the motors, the frame, all that lot from China, and then just did the circuit board in the US with its own software on there, that'll be fine. It's basically if you're buying every part from China and then just assembling it in the US, it's the same issue, isn't it?
Yeah, but I wouldn't. Here comes my conspiracy. I should get my tinfoil. I wouldn't doubt that the U.S. would be collecting data on their own citizens either. To be honest with you, why wouldn't they? Well, I should say, what would stop them from doing that? You know, we don't know. Maybe they would be, maybe they wouldn't. But I guess if we're going to spy on anybody, might as well spy on ourselves. But if you look,
did you not hear about the NSA spying thing a few years back?
You'd have to refresh my memory. Maybe I had.
The whole thing with Edward Snowden and all that lot.
Oh, yeah.
The contractor for the NSA, and then he blew the lid off. The US was actually spying on its own citizens and UK citizens. Proven, 100% proven. And basically their response was, well, if you're not hiding anything, then you've got nothing to worry about.
Really? That's so basically I should be able to spy on anybody so long as they have nothing to hide, right? So that just says anybody can do it. So don't complain if you don't have anything to hide, right? That makes no sense. That's such a hypocrisy. Getting back to this drone, if you look carefully at it, if I'm looking properly, it looks like a quad. It's got 4 arms, but if you look at it, it's got 8 props. Basically, each motor has opposing props, top and bottom. So it's flying on 8 props, but, of course, 4 on top, 4 on the bottom, just opposing each other. Interesting configuration. Curious as to why I guess that has to do with being able to carry more payload. I do not know. But, again, interesting looking bird. Take a look at it, folks. Again, I will paste the link in the chat one more time. Give it a look, and you tell me, or you decide for yourself, if this is going to be viable. And again, kudos to companies just stepping up and trying to provide a product that the U.S. is supposedly going to be able to trust, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Trust, yes. Salvini Raspo in the chat says, I think the chips would be the more important part to be in control of. The chips and the software is basically what's going to relay the information to China, if that's going to be an issue. I don't think, has there actually been any concrete proof of, Chinese made drones picking up data and sending it back to China, or is it more just erring on the side of caution just in case they do start doing things like that?
Maybe, but come on, Steve, you had this. You had a good story earlier on, and this is what's interesting is a lot of our stories overlap. You remember the one about anything can be hacked? Well, I mean, let's face it. Yeah, you could make a drone that's here in the U.S., but if you're going to be sending this stuff through internet or through cell phone towers, what's to stop any foreign agency from hacking in and still collecting this information? Honestly, it's just making it here. Is that really going to solve it? It may mitigate it a bit, but it's not 100%, tamper-proof. I would think that somebody would be able to get in there and find out whatever these things are collecting. Again, maybe it's just me being paranoid.
And what the problem is with countries like China and Russia, I'm almost getting my tinfoil hat on here. They actually have some ridiculous supercomputers which are made for the sole purpose of hacking. It's something like out of the world's top 10 most powerful supercomputers, I think 4 of them are in China. And they can be used for anything. We're not talking about like just a computer that's really good. We're talking about entire servers of cutting edge equipment, you know, like in the tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions for one server room like that, just literally to break into people's systems, or could potentially, you know, they're not going to admit to it, of course, but you know, apart from like one or two being at universities, the others are government owned, you know, so it's like that's got to be, they're just the ones that have announced,
Right.
you know.
Now, making the assumption that the Chinese are spying on us through DJI drones, let's say, I can see them sitting there, these supercomputers, going, "Oh, go ahead and make your own drones. We're still going to see your crap anyway." You know, sitting there going, wringing their hands. Go ahead, we're going to hack into your drones anyway and find out what you got. So it may make it inconvenient for them, but I don't think it's going to stop them, if that's indeed what's going on.
Yeah, and also bear in mind, since Windows 7, every Microsoft device has an NSA backdoor built in. So you wouldn't even know if there was rummaging around in your PC. I'll just talk about a quick story. You know, we're talking about spying anyway. Basically, it was about 5 weeks ago, and Lauren will back me up on this. Out of nowhere, one of my hard drive lights started going absolutely crazy. It was like, you know, a grindy sound where like an old style hard drive's being read or written to really, really fast. Mark?
Yeah. I'm typing to Choo Choo, sorry.
Yes. Hello, Choo Choo. Are you all right, buddy? And basically it was on, right? Bearing in mind, link that in with the NSA thing where, you know, there's a backdoor into Windows systems. Basically, the hard drive light was going crazy. It was making a real grindy sound.
I remember this story.
For about 5 minutes, this hard drive was going crazy, right? And I literally, after about 5 minutes, I was like, what is it doing? You know, I leant over and just spoke into the mic and said, "NSA, please stop spying on me." And within a second, it stopped, didn't it? Literally, the hard drive stopped reading. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine how paranoid that made me? Honestly.
That's creepy.
Why else would the hard drive just start? I had nothing open, and that hard drive is just storage. So there's no programs that run from it.
Now, Steve, why should you be paranoid? What do you have to hide?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? That defeats the point.
That's why they do it.
Doesn't it? That defeats the point. What's this, mind games? Yeah. Yeah, Choo Choo, I hope you're well, buddy. You know, we're just talking about the NSA a little bit. You know, if you want to talk about China spying, we've got to talk about every other country that spies as well. You know, let's be honest.
We're all, everybody's spying on everybody else. Let's not kill
Everyone's
ourselves.
spying on everybody else. You know.
Yes.
Brant Ariel says, I don't think the Chinese are interested in watching me fly my drone into wires. Yes, indeed. I remember on one of the Facebook posts it was brought up. Someone put, I'd never buy a DJI drone, you know, I've sold all mine since all this thing about China spying and all that lot. And someone put in the comments, well, we don't want to watch your bleep footage of you just flying up and down in a field all day, so why would the Chinese? He got literally wrecked in the chat, like in the comments thing on Facebook, and I was like, it's a fair point, you know.
Now, here's a question for Gary, Brent, Ariel's there. Who's Canada spying on these days? Does Canada spy? I mean, does Canada spy on anybody? I'm sure they do, but I'm curious.
I don't know. I don't think Canada really have like enemies, do they? Like in terms of like international like rivals, as it were.
It's like got to get those Canadians.
Yeah. No, you just don't hear it, do you? Those Canadians always making threats. There will be vengeance against them.
Sticking their noses where it doesn't belong. I never hear that. Kudos to you, Gary.
Yeah. I thought that the Canadians had like a reputation, almost a stereotype for being just overly polite all the time.
They're nice.
Yeah. All the Canadians I've met have been relatively nice, yeah. Relatively nice or above, Gary. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. Yeah. Karel Barassa, hello there. Sorry, that sounded terrible, didn't it, from me? Yeah. So, Yeah, if you're worried about people spying on your drones, you know, don't worry. Don't worry unless you're doing something illegal or you're flying around secure military bases. But I'm sure whatever your drone could see flying around, say, a classified location, I'm sure any country in the world can have a satellite that can just photograph something very similar and find out the same amount of information
And more.
and more. Yeah, with
Yeah,
no
Canadian.
threat of being found out. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's about where we're at with that, Mike, I
Yeah,
think.
Gary says Canadians should sit back and say sorry.
Yeah.
And Rasport Salvini says, haven't we watched Canadian Bacon? Now that rings a bell, but that's an old movie if I'm not mistaken.
No,
And
I haven't seen that.
I'll have to review I'll have to see it. I'm pretty sure I've seen it, but that's got to be an '80s flick if I'm not mistaken. But you can correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure it's kind of a spoof. So
Jeez. Okie dokie. Right, we'll switch over then to
yeah,
my story, Mike.
yes,
Awesome
please
stuff.
do.
There we go. I clicked the wrong thing. This happens, but it's all good. Right, over to my story then. There we go. Paste that in. And you know where this is going to lead anyway, because of my track record with a certain airport in the UK.
Oh God.
Securing airports from drone threats is a wicked problem. The FAA and the industry agree. And this is from Aviation Today. So this is from a pilot interest, oriented site. Pewter Studios, hello there. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, Andrew.
Oh, what a
My
pleasure.
brother.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. It's the first time for everything, Steve.
What a pleasure. No, Pewter Studios have been in before. Do you know when we did them crappy RoboCraft streams?
Oh, I'm talking about for this show, for the
Oh,
Wednesday
right,
night
yes.
show. So, Andrew, it's a pleasure having you here. I'm not going to pick on you
Yes.
because Lord knows you give it back to me 12-fold. So
Yes. So
he heard
I've
us
put
talking about Canadians. That's what it is. He came to defend his brethren.
Pewter Studios says Mark is what we call wannabe Canadian or genteel France. No. There is a theory that I have that Mark secretly wants to be British. That's the real theory. Yes.
Yeah,
And he'll deny it. He'll deny it, but
I never denied it nor supported it. I just let you go on and on.
The evidence stacks up, unfortunately. Yeah. I'm not going to go over it again. It takes ages. There's an entire portfolio of it. Right.
See, I'm trying to be nice.
Also, there's a
I
book
try to,
this thick, right?
yeah. Yes.
Of different events and things that have happened that all point to that conclusion that Mark does want to be British. I'm just waiting for him
Moving
to
on.
react. No reaction. No reaction. Yeah. Okay. So I'll start the drone news story. Here we go. Despite keen awareness of threats posed by drones, US airports and other large facilities are currently reluctant to purchase counter-drone security systems due to a lack of clarity around regulation, responsibility, authority, and effectiveness of technologies. The Federal Aviation Administration is monitoring the security risks posed by drones as their use continues to proliferate, with the agency expecting $9 billion in drone sales by 2024. Now we know, let's just focus on that for a second. Now we know that all these forecasts and estimates don't mean anything because they've been wrong, to a factor of like 10 before, and that's just like a year away. So don't make predictions for 4 years' time, please. You don't know what's going to happen next week, do you, at this rate? So as the FAA has been looking at this, we've been trying not to completely eliminate risk. If we're to do that, then we would not maximise use of the airspace, said Lisa Papier, acting director of the agency's Office of National Security Programs and Incident Response. She described efforts to mitigate risk that include education, deterrence through law enforcement, as well as the agency's upcoming drone remote identification role. I'll just say hello there, Asgard Studios, hello there. But as events like the December 2018 disruption of service at London Gatwick Airport have shown education and deterrence are not enough, and a single, is the word mark, clueless or nefarious drone operator can have an outsized impact. Yes, it's been proven time and time again there was no drones at Gatwick, but because this is orientated around pilot interests, obviously they're going to stick with the narrative that there was 36 different drones at Gatwick over the course of like 70 hours or something, and 20 police squadrons, the British Army snipers, 2 police helicopters, and a full lockdown of the airport couldn't catch anybody. Okay.
Nobody had mobile phones.
Yeah, no footage, no evidence. I don't think that was drones. Okay, so that incident resulted in a loss of $25 to $60 million in revenue for airports and airlines, according to Justin Barkowski, Vice President for Regulatory Affairs at the American Association of Airport Executives, and 160,000 people missed flights. Investigators never determined who was responsible for the threat. And we know what it was. It was a computer system malfunction. Don't sue me, please. Okay, that's my own opinion. Today there are more than 530 counter-drone systems on the market, none of them used at Gatwick apparently. According to account by the Centre for the Study of the Drone at Bard College, with detection methods including radar, radio frequency, electro-optical and infrared imaging and acoustics. Interdiction methods are various as well, but there's a very little clarity amongst industry, government agencies, and even the military what systems are most effective for various circumstances. It's very weirdy, isn't it, this article? They are loving it. There we go, I'm just making sure. The FAA, along with the Department of Homeland Security's Science and Technology Division, is conducting testing and analysis of commercial counter-UAS solutions to develop industry standards for use by airports and other potential purchasers. Those activities which Papier did not give a timeline for on the FAA side have been disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Then, in quotes, we're really anxious to see how we can support the development of efficient technologies that identify and detect UAS that are disruptive, Papier said, but at this point in time, other than the testing that we have moving forward, we really don't have any way of seeing what positive or perfect solution is going to be. Yes, indeed. Brant Ariels in the chat says, Steve said the G word. Yes, I try and steer away from the Gatwick topic because
there it is again.
I try and steer away from that UK airport that begins with G topic because you know how much it winds me up because it's been thoroughly debunked. It really has, but obviously...
But it's always the go-to for going against drones, which is ridiculous.
Because everybody who was against drones already, that was the perfect thing for them to go, I told you so, look, it's finally happening, I told you so. But since then, I haven't bothered to do any follow-up looking into what actually happened there. But as soon as you just scratch the surface, you go, that can't have been drones there, surely. You know, and then when you find out that there was computer issues at the same time, at more than one other UK airport as well, at the same time, which had the same new computer system, it's not drones, is it? Let's be honest. And then Heathrow a few weeks later apparently had issues, you know, with drones at the airport. No one caught anything. No one's learning lessons, either, like in catching people flying drones. Anyway, you know, and that was a BBC cameraman who stopped to observe it and got no footage. A cameraman for the BBC said he saw a drone over Heathrow and didn't stop to get footage. Yeah. Brant Ariel says, relax, Steve, move along. Yes, thank you.
Finally, someone told him.
There we go.
Hey, we can get him off that if I start talking about the FAA and go on that rant.
Woosa.
I won't do that.
There we go. Beyond finding the right solutions, there are issues of responsibility and authority that are clearly in the early stages of being solved. FAA controls the airspace, but airports are privately owned enterprises whose responsibility is to purchase and operate counter-UAS systems, and who has the authority to act on an unidentified threat. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to start paraphrasing because this article is taking me breath away, this. As airports, we have very limited capability, blah, blah, blah. We have legal authority to take down a drone. Blah blah blah. I'm just having a look. Yeah. It's all what we know already. You know, airports should be putting anti-drone solutions in place. You know, the media's gunning for drones. Private companies want the airspace. Apparently now it's linked with China hacking everybody. You know, people spying. None of it's happening, is it, Mark? Let's be honest.
No.
Well, the China spying part, maybe. But, you know, that's nothing to do with drones, really, is it? You know.
And Andrew Pusa Studio says that's the hard part when the media is already gunning for you. You're always starting off on the wrong in their eyes, and one or few idiots get noticed by them. It hurts all, and he's absolutely right. But here's the case: nobody did it.
Yeah.
Nothing. There was no drone at Gatwick, and it was to save money, so they didn't have to reimburse people for losing their flights because of the computer issues. At least that's what we think. So,
Yes.
but he's absolutely right. But in this case, it isn't somebody who did it. They completely fabricated. Scapegoat.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, the media can literally just brainwash you.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even realise they're doing it.
Yeah.
There was an article I saw online the other day. This was when it was like the Prime Minister election time, you know, Boris Johnson versus Jeremy Corbyn, all that lot. I don't like getting too political, but the same newspaper, right, I'm not going to name it because I don't want to get sued, even though it is a headline that they printed on the front page. On the one in Scotland had Jeremy Corbyn's gaffe at the Prime Minister's debate or something, and then the one in England was Boris Johnson's gaffe at the Prime Minister's debate. It's the same newspaper, but to different audiences, can spin one story to be whatever they want it to be. You know, and that's what they do with drones. They'll ignore all the positive stuff and just keep banging on about these airport incidents, which, you know, there's no proof.
And let's face it, I wish I'd kept a tally since we started this. Not that we try to just inflate the good stuff, but if we were to look at all the good things that drones have been used for, whether it's commercially or as for hobby purposes, it far outnumbers the few negative stories that we pull. And we try to be fair. We don't just put good news stories on here. We do the bad ones as well, but we don't purposely flood them with good. Although we're trying to promote responsible flying and to show that the hobby is safe as long as we follow the rules. I don't get it. It's just you don't hear any of these good stories in the news, just the bad ones, of course. Hey, Roger, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, the only real place you find positive drone news stories, as a rule, like 90% of them, are on drone websites. You won't see them. You won't see them on mainstream news, because mainstream news don't like anything positive. Let's be honest.
No. It doesn't matter if it's drones or not. So
what they want is big headline, something negative, get people fired up, buy that newspaper. That's their job. Mm-hmm. They're not going to want to hear some positive story about how drones are changing lives around the world for the positive. They'll only want Gatwick for 3 days, you know. But then they won't follow up with probably wasn't drones, which is now the official line on the story, you know, and they still use probably wasn't, but really there wasn't, let's be honest.
Right.
You know, they just don't want to change it to definitely not, you know, because then they'll just be made out to look like absolute liars. Yeah.
Right.
And sensationalists. Yeah. So, yes, that's about as far as I want to go with that story. I think we've covered that in depth. As we go. Yes.
We can beat that up all day long.
Just a quick hello. I have put it in the chat, but hello, Roger. I hope you're well, buddy. Thank you for joining us there. Just finished supper. Oh, lovely. Lovely stuff. I've just finished some chocolate hobnob biscuits. Yes. Okay, Mark, over to your story, mate.
Yes. Okay, so here we go. Now, this one is a source I haven't used before. It's Global Village Space. I posted the link in the chat. Feel free to go read it. I found this one interesting. This one caught my eye. It said Punjab police to fly drones to arrest, of all people, kite flyers. So I'm like, why would you want to arrest kite flyers? And as I read the story, you'll find out there's a bit of a problem. Very big hobby in Punjab, apparently, flying kites, and you'll hear in a second. It says the police of Punjab have decided to use drones in order to monitor and arrest kite flyers. Experts fear such use of technology is tantamount to erosion of privacy. Is it so? Here we go. According to media reports, Punjab police has decided to use drones for surveillance as part of a province-wide crackdown against kite flyers. They will reportedly be using drones to locate, identify, and arrest the culprits. And it's like, ooh, public enemy number one, the kite flyers. Wait till you hear this, because it's interesting what they claim these kite flyers are responsible for. Experts believe such use of technology may lead to erosion of privacy. Okay, with public places under lockdown due to the novel coronavirus, the citizens have a little option to keep themselves entertained at home, despite a ban on kite flying. In the province, people are blatantly violating the law with complete disregard for human life. Each year, get this, each year numerous deaths are reported due to incidents linked with kite flying.
We
Most
covered
of the time,
that on a previous news story.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and this was as of the 20th of this month, so this is just an update on it. Most of the time, unsuspecting bikers riding are killed as glass-coated sharp strings slit their throats. Now, I do believe that there's a sport or hobby where you fly kites and you battle them, and the idea is to tangle and snap the string of the opposing kite. And some of them glue crushed glass, I guess, to the strings in order to slit the strings in order for this to work. Or maybe there's some other nefarious reason why they do this. Several incidents of people falling from rooftops while flying kites or getting electrocuted while catching a kite are also reported each year. Last month, a 25-year-old bike rider died after a stray spring slit his throat at Ferozepur, I don't know if I've got that, road factory area of Lahore. Governments across the world are now using technology to deal with this novel coronavirus to ensure lockdowns. So this is just going into it. But I just found kite flying at first to be such a, I don't know, mild activity. Apparently, there's a lot of deaths according to this. That's why I'd asked you before. I thought we did cover something on it, but I couldn't imagine slicing somebody's throat while flying a kite. Holy crap. So they're now using drones to police, patrol, and arrest these people. But yeah, take a look at it. I will post the link in the chat one more time if you want to get a more detailed read at this. But yeah, Punjab, police, drones, slit throats, kites.
It's all happening.
It's amazing. It's like you're picking random things out of it. Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with Mad Libs. It's this game where you pick certain words, you fill it in, and then it's like they pick random topics, threw them together, and you got yourself a story here. But this one is true, supposedly.
Yeah. Now, hello, Ball Life. I hope you're well, buddy. Thank you for joining us there. Cusa says, I used to love those gang kite flying moves of the 50s with Marlon Brando. A bad bunch they were. I've never seen any of them. Will you name one of them and I'll look it up?
Yes. The saying should change. Don't bring a knife to a kite fight.
Oh dear. Marlon Brando's like an old Hollywood star. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, just remember, first of all, not a single fatality worldwide. Not one. Absolute zero. From the hobbyist use of drones, No. So, just people buying a drone, going out flying. Yes, there's been security concerns and privacy concerns, but no fatalities, right? And for two, if the police are sending out drones to find these people and they're using these battle kites, why don't they just battle the drones out of the sky with them? Can you imagine that? That would be a better story.
Yeah, just think of the glass-coated strings getting wound up in the props of a drone. It'll take it down in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Oh, dearie me. Yeah, it's like a proper battle in the sky. Police drones, these kites swooping in like big explosions.
Well, that's one way to
no, that's a drone video I want to see. Right? No, I don't. No, honestly. Honestly, I don't want to see that. Please don't try it.
Talk about low tech taking out high tech. That'd be hysterical when you think about it.
Yes.
High tech drone taken out by a piece of string.
Oh, dearie me. Yeah. EBR FPV says I'd love to freestyle a couple of those kites. Yeah. Ball Life says time to equip your drone with this. Yeah. Well, the thing is with the drone, obviously. How high do kites go? I mean, there's no real limit, is there?
I mean, line of sight, I would think.
Next, you'll have to register your kite and put a transponder on it. You know what I mean?
It is coming. It is coming.
Just in case you go above 400 feet. You know?
I think they can easily do that, but maybe there's a clause there. Maybe they're beating the loophole by being tethered.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Actually, yeah, I think that's it. So what you need basically to get around the rules is to get like a spool off a fishing line and just tie it around the central bit of the drone's body, right? And while you're flying, just have that attached to you somewhere. So at any point, if it looks like it's going out of control, you can just reel it in, right? And then you negate all the rules of flyaways and everything, right? Oh, dearie me. I think that's the point in it. EBRFPV says, I meant freestyle around a couple of those kites and my drone would make some awesome footage.
Yeah, it probably would. Yeah, I agree.
Pusa says, I hear 27 Crips lost their lives to the Bloods kites in Lower Chicago in 2019.
And I just corrected I heard it was the Bloods. So, just to be fair, it's not the Crips, it's the Bloods.
Just to clarify, that's not real, is it?
Those are
a joke?
No, it's not real. He's being funny.
I thought you were going to say it's not a joke. I was going to say...
No. He's spoofing. I was joking with him, too. It's, the rival gangs here in the States. Bloods and Crips,
I know about all that, but whenever I've seen documentaries about things like that, I've never mentioned kites.
Could you imagine?
I was a bit, confused, is this a joke?
Could you imagine?
Have I missed something?
These gangs are infamous for beating down their, to enter the gang, you'd have to be beaten, and they switch that now to flying kites. You want to join the gang? Here, fly this kite.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know.
Let's see what you can do with this kite, mister.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. He says he was just messing with Mark. He was messing with me. Then messing with my head. I've seen a few documentaries on the Bloods and the Crips.
Well, they've never mentioned
Never once the word kite has come into it.
Well, Steve, they keep that one on the down low, so let's be...
Yeah, that's the real sort of, high level under the table stuff, isn't it?
That's their secret weapon.
Yeah, proper illicit kite running and all that lot, you know what I mean? Kite dealings.
Wait, wasn't there a movie called The Kite Runner?
I don't know.
Yes, there was. No, just kidding.
I don't know. Right. Anyway,
moving on.
Kites are more dangerous than drones.
Apparently,
official.
Yes.
It's official.
People,
you heard it here
people
first.
that are killed by kites than drones. That's a great way to put it, Steve.
Yeah.
50 Cent was one of the greatest kitists of his... Oh, Lord. Okay. So
Honestly,
much
I don't know how I'm meant
news.
to conduct the stream with that going on in the chat. Yeah, no, that is funny. You got to giggle at. I mean, it's just the mental image. Isn't it? 50 Cent's quite big, isn't he? And he looks quite intimidating. And there's this bloody kite strings. Oh, you're killing me. All right, okay, right. Switch over to another drone news story. Here we go.
Sounds good.
That's over to me there. So this is from New York Post. I'll put this in the chat there. Paste that in. There we go. Italian sunbather fined after police drone spots him on a deserted beach. There we go. Lauren in the chat says drones do hurt people. Have you ever seen the film The Drone? It's basically a take on the horror film Chucky, but it involves a drone this guy finds in his garden. It is low budget, absolute trash. I nearly swore there. And it just serves to give drones a bad name. Basically, I think in one scene it flies towards him and starts hacking at the throat or something.
No, it does it to a dog.
To the dog.
It does it, and then it flies into that woman's back garden and takes pictures of her.
Yeah. And the funny thing is,
she's sunbathing.
Yeah, the film Pusa Studios is The Drone 2019. Honestly, if you want a cringe fest for a good hour and a half, just watch it. There's a scene where there's this fit woman sunbathing, swimming in the garden next door. This drone apparently has got the soul of a serial killer in it, like Chucky. This serial killer transfers his consciousness just as he dies, right? Oh, Lauren's saying it's funny. That it takes itself very seriously, this film, right? And this woman's sunbathing, right? The drone comes flying in. It's hovering right over her back. It makes no noise. It's like it's a phantom drone. They're loud. I've been around people flying phantoms. They are loud. Whenever is flying it makes noise. Whenever it's sneaking up on people, it makes no noise. You know what I mean? That's dangerous, that.
And not just that. It uses a mouse and a keyboard.
Yes, it does. It uses a mouse and a keyboard.
A computer.
You don't get to see how it does it, but it does it. Right? The camera leaves that to the imagination. Right, yeah.
Steve,
it can also operate a keypad.
You've definitely convinced me not to watch this movie. I'm going to tell you that.
No, if you want a laugh, go watch it. The Drone, 2019. Yeah.
Okay.
Pewster Studio says, I did see a short version of this movie. I think it involves Roger and Kim. What? Oh, dearie me. Okay, right. I need to compose myself. You know what I mean?
Kim was the one sunbathing.
Oh, Lord. Kim was the one.
Oh, dearie me. Okay, right. I need to just take a minute. My face is aching. Italian sunbather fined after police drone spots him on a deserted beach. There we go. I'm trying to hold back the giggles here. Italian police showed off how they used the drone to help 3 police officers track down a lockdown scofflaw. What's that? Sunning himself on an otherwise deserted beach. Do you know what a scofflaw is, Mark?
Yeah, scofflaw is just basically somebody who breaks the law. That's it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
It operates outside the rules of law.
Okay.
A bad person.
Clueless, careless, and criminal.
That's it.
Yeah. So the unidentified beachgoer was caught by the drone flying above the beach in Rimini with footage seemingly showing no one else for miles. Shirtless and wearing blue pants, he appeared relaxed as the drone filmed 2 officers on quad bikes and a third in a police van driving through the deserted sands to confront him. But he raised his head with visible shock as the cops started to lecture him, with an officer filmed writing up a ticket, according to the footage released Friday. The image was released by town officials to show off the high-tech way cops were dealing with those defying strict lockdown, which forbids using beaches and parks. But the PR push may have backfired, with many commenters saying the Get Tough effort went too far, with one even calling the officers dictators, according to The Sun. Italy has long been Europe's worst victim of the coronavirus, blah, 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 while Spain now has more confirmed cases. Italy still has more deaths. That's going into the coronavirus thing there. This dude looks like maximum chill, right? And if he lived close enough to that beach to make it out into the sands without encountering anybody, surely I don't know what the issue is there. Who knows? But then again, if one's allowed to get away with it, then other people will start doing it, won't they? And that's the whole point. But he looks maximum chill, doesn't he, right there? Yeah.
They should be doing it here. Full of people sat around fishing.
What it also needs is photoshopping in, you know, someone like a cop coming in on a Segway, you know, like Mall Cop. Like a real rotund officer, you know, on a Segway.
So to just piggyback on what Puss was saying, Andrew, so that's Kim sunbathing and Rogers flying the drone? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think it's to do with that film, The Drone.
Oh, I thought he was...
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's...
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Unrelated.
Hey, you never know. They may get around. Those two. Yes. You never know.
Okay, and I believe you're out of drone stories, aren't you, Mark?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And
I've got 2 more, and I'll do my best to get through these nice and swift, okay? Because we're on the 1 hour mark.
Yes, we are.
So,
yes, we are.
Yeah, I'll just cover these real quick, and we'll soon be finishing up. So this one's from my neck of the woods, the same county I live in. There we go. Paste that link in there. Shrimp Shack says people being caught with barbecue on beaches too. Yeah, you know, the odd person doesn't even think it's real. Never mind. Drone footage shows moment police find vulnerable person sitting in the middle of a railway. There we go, look, there's a video of something probably unrelated. I do have a bit of a grudge against this media company, but I can't really speak about that for legal reasons. In a tweet, Lincolnshire police drone said Lynx copter 24-hour thermal again playing a key role in locating and guiding officers into a vulnerable person on a railway track in Lincolnshire tonight. Great teamwork and credit go to Sergeant Parker, who really had officers tasked, slashed focused and made this happen. This is the video right here, and obviously don't want to play that really because, well, copyright strikes. Yes. People have been quick to praise the actions of the police who had to go onto the tracks themselves to find them. A timely reminder that the police are heroes too and put their lives on the line for us every single day. Blah, blah, blah. Great work, said Gary Sylvester. Yes, indeed. Yes, round of applause. There we go. They used the drone for positive. This is the thing. Somebody who's obviously unstable's tried to do something silly. They've ended up on the railway lines and the drones found them with footage of thermal on the lines, all that lot. Ball Life says he's looking forward to getting his own drone. Yes, I'd get one quick and enjoy it before all the regulations get stricter. Right? Because soon we're just going to be legislated out. You watch. Just going to be eradicated by ridiculous overreaching laws. You watch.
And I hope if that happens, that if I die anytime soon, I'm going to come back as a drone. I'm going to possess the soul of a drone and wreak havoc on the FAA.
Like that scene from Chucky, where the police are chasing him and he's been shot and he breaks into that toy shop and he lands on that pile of Chucky dolls and he's doing that spell. And I can't remember how it goes, but he imparts his soul into the Chucky doll. That's what Mark will want to do to one of his drones. He'll be chanting that chant off there and hoping it works.
In fact, I'm going to carry my Mavic 2 Zoom on my hip from now on, just in case.
Just in case.
I just got to learn that spell, that's all.
Yeah, oh, blooming heck. Yes.
I need to watch the beginning of that film.
Yes, right, so on to the next story. And this one is positive, which is good. So there we go, I'll paste that link in the chat. From BBC News, also not a big fan, but I have to post the links just for fairness. The stealthy little drones that fly like insects. So, when Storm Ciara swept across the UK in February, Ciara, whatever. UK in February, Alex Catcher was strolling on Oxford's Port Meadow watching birds take to the air. He marvelled at their indifference to high winds. While airliners were grounded by the weather, the birds couldn't care less. It was more than just a passing thought for Mr. Catcher as the chief executive of Animal Dynamics, a technology startup applying lessons from wildlife to drone design. Formed in 2015 to pursue the science known as biomechanics, his company already has 2 drones to show for an intimate study of bird and insect life. One takes inspiration from a dragonfly and has attracted funding from the military. Its 4 wings make it steady in high winds that would defeat existing miniature spy drones. Known as Skeeter, the secretive project has cracked the challenge of using flapping wings to power a drone. While wings are more efficient than a propeller and allow a dragonfly to hover in the face of strong gusts, they are almost impossible for human engineers to emulate. Making devices with flapping wings is very hard, in quotes, says Mr. Catcher. Helicopters manoeuvre by changing the pitch of rotor blades to go forward and backward or to hover. For smaller objects, hovering is a major challenge. A dragonfly is an awesome flyer, says Alex Catcher. It's just insane how beautiful they are. Nothing is left to chance in that design. It has very sophisticated flight control. The dragonfly does have 300 million years of evolution on its side. Animal Dynamics has spent 4 years writing software that operates the hand-launched drone like an insect and allows it to hover in gusts of more than 20 knots, 23 miles per hour, or 37 kilometers an hour. From 22 to 27 knots is classed as a strong breeze. The software gives Skeeter a degree of autonomy and guides it around obstacles towards its objective. And it meets Ministry of Defence desire for a wind-tolerant miniature reconnaissance drone to let soldiers spy on threats concealed ahead. That is an image of the drone. There is a video on this article as well, which was really interesting. So I will, just while I'm chatting away there, just re-link that in the chat.
Now, is this the military drone that costs like 80 grand, I think, per unit? and can be flown with one hand, or is this still in beta testing or
No,
development?
that little military drone is an Australian one. It's
Okay.
the Australian Army, I think, developed that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's basically, it's got a single prop on the top and a little tail
Okay.
prop, like a
Oh,
helicopter.
okay. So it's like a conventional
It's
helicopter.
a mini helicopter, but it's autonomous, auto hover and all that lot.
Yeah. Nice.
Skeeter will carry a camera and communications links into the skies and should be cheap enough for operators to lose some without denting the defence budget. It's currently around 8 inches long, but production versions are planned to be smaller. Squeezing a lot of aerodynamic and navigational wisdom into a diminutive package is nature's prerogative, but it's a big challenge for Animal Dynamics. We started small to learn hard lessons, as Alex Catcher puts it. Animal Dynamics' 70-strong team relied on electronics from the smartphone industry to shrink their knowledge into Skeeter's frame. Insights into robotics, biology and software all play their part in the design, but mobile phones have been a boon to all mini drone makers. That's Guido de Kroon and the Delphi. Yeah, it's quite small writing there. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go all the way through this article because I do want to wrap up in a moment. But this video on the article, please check it out because it is very, very good. It shows how this thing actually flies. Not necessarily this drone, but another prototype that they had, and it shows how it stays in the air and moves about. And it's all about how quick the wings flap on each side and the tilt of the wings and everything. And it flies literally like a dragonfly. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And obviously, on a dragonfly, all the wings move independently of each other. That's what gives it that manoeuvrability. So that's obviously very difficult to emulate in real life. That's why miniature drones like that are going to be, I think what will be really scary is when they get down to the size of actual dragonflies. That's when it will be an issue because you wouldn't know the difference, would you?
No. No, it'd be hard to tell.
I actually saw, and I know tinfoil hat again, about 10 years ago, I saw a US prototype of a drone this big. It was the size of a fly with a camera, and it could transmit the video feed with remote control, and it could just fly through any little gap and just get in and just land on the wall, and it looked just like a fly. And there was actually, I'm going to have to find that for next week's show because that actually existed 10 years ago. So,
wow, that's crazy.
How did they manage that? No, I'm not kidding. Yeah, that's DARPA level stuff. That.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. Anyway, Bull Life says Havoc 2 drone, and he meant Mavic Pro 2. Yeah, I thought he was trying to crack a joke about the Havoc drone, maybe something to do with battling down.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't sure what he meant by that. Yeah, it's a new Mavic 2. I'm like, Havoc 2, I'll have to look that one up.
Yes. Right, Mark, now is a brilliant time for another plug.
Yes. For those who are interested, we our show Saturday night from the Transatlantic Drone Alliance, the Spotlight Show, we are going to be on again at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 p.m. UK time. And I'll just say that I'm excited because this guest was one of the channel recommendations from one of our previous guests, which is really nice. And if you didn't catch the last week show, we had Drone UK on, which is really, really nice to get back to our roots. This week, it should be interesting, a little different. So check us out Saturday night, again, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 p.m. UK time. And it'll be on my channel, and my channel link is in the description below, I believe, Steve. If you don't have notifications set, please do so. So we'll be on for that. And I do have a channel to raid if you'd like to send people over at some point.
Indeed.
It is those guys out of New York City. They're doing drone talk. In fact, Geeks Vana was on the panel, but he's no longer there. He just popped off. So there is the link, and put in the chat whatever you want to tag for the raid, and then we'll go over there as soon as we shut down, and we'll meet everybody over there.
Yes.
So
Nicely put there, Mark. That was awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
The interview streams on a Saturday night have been going very, very well. Meeting some awesome people. And the thing is, people who aren't part of, say, the drone community or the FPV, all that stuff, they'll bring in sometimes a few people they know, and we're just meeting new people all the time. It's brilliant.
It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So
yes, okay. So please,
Good.
if you're going to go over to Phantom Flight's live stream there with those guys, I don't know, Aerial Raid. There's many channels with Aerial in the name to some degree. Just Aerial Raid, please, if you would. I'm going to leave the stream rolling a little bit. We'll catch you all over there. I say catch us Saturday night, March channel, 5 p.m. Eastern time, 10 p.m. UK time. And if not, next Wednesday, same place, same time, right here on Aerial Views and Histories UK. I've been Steve, that's Mark. Farewell, everybody. Subscribe to his channel in the stream description. Yes.
Till Saturday night, folks.
Farewell,
Have a good
everybody.
week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us.